Notts County talk. Feels like only yesterday we were live, doesn't it, George?
It
Feels
does,
like
doesn't it? It's
only
weird, that
yesterday.
one.
It does. Feels like only yesterday I was saying thank you for watching us this season. We'll only be back if something massive happens. And we're back. Bang on 24 hours after we were last live. We're back. We sort of said last night it'll be now or never. It really is. It was now or never. With the week coming up, bank holiday is there. I think bank holiday is next week. It just didn't feel like anything would happen next week. It felt like this week. It's happened today. George, you sort of expected us to be back live tonight, didn't you, in some kind of capacity?
Yeah, definitely. I was expecting it. I felt like yesterday we should have really heard something. Um, we didn't. It was today, and initially I was so gutted. People at my work obviously will tell you how gutted I actually was. Mood dropped straight away, and a few of them are Forest fans, so I was getting a few pelters. But no, I really was. I was gutted, gutted to see him go. As much as I expected it, it was like an over so many emotions. I was disappointed. I was like sort of angry, thinking, "Oh, he said he was here for the project." Um, and then I sort of got over those feelings because I think they're very much biased feelings, Notts County feelings, And you look at it from his perspective. Great move for him. Great move for him. There's no doubt about it. I wish him all the best, but yeah, I'm super gutted, and we really need to book up our ideas in terms of recruitment all over the place now, not just manager.
Yeah, plenty to discuss tonight. Plenty of your comments to get up. I mean, you can see below me in the video, you can see Ian Burchnall's still there, Michael Doyle's still there. We haven't even had time to change our backdrop. It's all happened so quickly. We were expecting 2 or 3 weeks off, weren't we? We've put in a lot this season. We're expecting 2 or 3 weeks off. It's come straight away. You said last night it would happen. I said he'd be the manager on the first day of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised for it to happen tomorrow morning. It did happen. Like Adam says, quickest start to the season ever. Yeah, we said we'll see you next season and we're back. So much to discuss. I know
Yeah.
most of you with us last night. Thank you for joining us again. Mixed emotions. As always, I'll just tempt you towards subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Any Forest Green fans want to know anything, let us know. But George, do you think Burchnall? I don't know if anyone's seen the Forest Green interview. Burchnall said it all happened on Wednesday. How much of that do you believe, or how much of that do you think was the case?
Oh, that's a good question. I think things would have been in place definitely. I think Forest Green would have had their proposals ready. I think maybe the agent, Bertrand's agent, was contacted by Forest Green, and then he sort of said, "Look, I need to focus on the playoffs. I'll come to discussing certain things like that after the playoffs and after if we're done with those sorts of things, so we can gain his full focus." Then, I mean, I could be wrong by saying this. And then I think obviously then after that, there's probably been a proposal put to Bertrand that he feels like he can't refuse and he can't say no to in his position. So that's from my perspective what I think's happened, and maybe why we didn't know yesterday that it was only like sort of figured out on Wednesday.
You look at it in perspective. You're in the playoffs. You haven't achieved where we wanted to achieve. We wanted to be first place, and failing that, it had to be second or third. We didn't get that, and then all of a sudden, we're at home to Grimsby, a side that beat us in extra time in the last game. Yes, we beat them at home at their place, away for us, but they beat us in the most recent game, and then speculation comes out against Forest Green that he's going to be going there. When you look at it in hindsight, I'm not surprised we didn't win that game on Monday night. I'm really not surprised because
Yeah,
even if there, like you said, there was nothing, even if there was no hint that Bertrand was directly contacted, it's going to have affected something.
yeah. I mean, so some of the players might have seen it, and he might have just sort of silenced those sort of thoughts. But it's still in the back of your mind, thinking, is he really going to be here next season? I mean, I don't know. I've never played football at a professional level, but it's bound to affect the team, isn't it? In some degree, whether it be tiny or big. I think it definitely does play its part for sure.
I think if you look at that game and not saw going into extra time, but you sort of know you're a team 2 leagues above's first choice for manager, and you go into extra time and all the fans' hearts are in their mouths in the stadium, it's sort of a cushion for you as manager. Do you know what I mean? If this doesn't go right in this extra time, I'm gutted because I haven't taken the team up. But I've got a team that want me 2 leagues above. Do you know what I mean? No
Yeah, I
matter
know what you
how
mean. Yeah.
professional you are, and we'll talk about me. We met Ian Burchnall earlier this season. We'll talk about his professionalism in a minute. Because I'm not saying anything bad about Ian Burchnall. I don't want to come in here and slate him. I thought he was a great guy. But anyone in that situation with the cushion of knowing you're a League One side first choice and clear first choice, it's got to make you relax. I think, personally.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. To be fair, it certainly would, wouldn't it? You got to sort of put yourself in other people's positions, and if that was the situation that you find yourself in, I think you're right, 100%.
Which, yeah. What do you make of going to Forest Green Rovers then? That's the team he's gone to. What do you think about leaving Notts for Forest Green?
I mean, as a club, it's not the biggest of clubs by any stretch, is it? In terms of fan base, history, things like that. But they're a very sort of up and coming team, club even, with really good sort of direction. I think suit Burchnall down to the ground, literally down to the ground. It's everything Burchnall would want. He's head coach again, isn't he? So all those sort of factors sort of lay in to sort of suit him perfectly, I think. My opinion on that has slightly changed because I did sort of think, why would you go to Forest Green? But when you look at it in retrospect, I think they've got a bit of money to spend as well. Probably not as much as some of the teams in League One, but I think with the right amount of time, I think they've got a month until the start of the season in League One. If he's working hard within that time, I think he could get a decent side together. And I think obviously the aim is to establish themselves in League One, but I'm sure Burchnall and Doyle will be aiming higher than that.
Have a look at some of your comments. Bob says, with him leaving, he was responsible for retained and released decisions. I don't think that's a really hard one because Burchnall himself says that Wednesday is when the contact was made, and it was quickly between Wednesday and today that everything was put together, finalised. Retain list came out Wednesday or Thursday? Did it come out yesterday? It definitely didn't.
I think it was yesterday, wasn't it?
It didn't come out Tuesday.
No.
So retain list came out after contact was made, but obviously decisions were made before that. So I'd be interested. It's a good question.
I think it was Wednesday, actually.
I'd be interested to know who had a hand in that, because the board will have known. Wednesday can't have been the first contact, because their chairman Dale Vince said that we've contacted the club and their season's not finished. So who's had a hand in that? I don't know.
Richard Montague?
Who knows? Who knows who's had a hand in that? I know a few people said there's a fair few more than they expected still on the books. I know some are still in contract, so you can't let them go. But how much does who's in charge impact that retain list? Because a lot of clubs just employ a head coach to play with the team he's given. Some clubs like the manager to have, and the difference is manager and head coach, to have a massive impact. So who really has that say? And does it matter too much who's had that? Burchnall's now gone with that. I don't know. Questions out there. What do you think with that? Do you think whoever comes in to take charge will have a big say or not?
I think they will be given candidates, and they'll be swiftly told to sort of pick as soon as you can. Because I'm thinking some of the free agents that are available at the moment are massive. Like, we need to get the man in, whoever it is, and get going, because time is of the essence more so than ever. Like, literally, I don't want to be dramatic, but if things aren't sorted soon, it could be really severely catastrophic if we're not looking to spend to bring players in. But yeah, no, I do think the manager will have a say to some extent.
I'm going to say this now. I was going to bring it up later, but you brought it up now. I am not a negative fan. I would say we're both on the side of positive most of the time.
I think so. Looking through Twitter, yeah.
I would say we are cautious. Would you say cautious fans, but optimistic but cautious? I think,
and that's fair. Yeah.
I agree with you. I tweeted it earlier. If not handled right, and I don't want to sort of scare people or say things that I'm speaking from what I believe. I think this, if not handled correctly, could be a disaster. Personally, and that's my view. You sort of alluded to it there. This could be an absolute disaster for the club. I'm not saying I don't. I have full faith in the Reeds brothers, so I think they'll handle it well. If it's not handled well, nightmare for this club, and a nightmare that keeps in the National League for a very, very long time. Look, manager's gone. That was here for a project. He said he was here for a project. Words mean nothing in football anymore. Nothing.
Yeah,
it's your actions that show everything. So I don't blame Burchnall for going 2 leagues above. Why would you not? Imagine he bombed it at Notts next season and then no one wanted him. So you take your chances. If he takes players with him, big players with him, I'm talking Ruben Rodriguez, Matty Palmer, we're in trouble. If it's not sorted, we're in big trouble. And I hope the club recognise how big this could be. Because all of a sudden, we've gone from thinking we're going to be in this league 1-2 years as a fan base, as a club, to being in 3 years. All of a sudden, the project that was going on is ripped apart. The biggest players are taken, and we've got a manager coming in that has the best assets gone from the club. We're reeling off the back of a final loss, a semi-final loss, and now a quarter-final loss. Lowest finish we've ever had as a fifth place. I think it could be very, very difficult.
Yeah, it certainly could. The only silver lining to obviously losing certain players that you're talking about there is obviously fees. I think Matty Palmer will get a decent fee for him, and obviously Ruben as well would get a fee for him. So I'd like to think if that money does come in for those players, if they go, this is literally all hindsight. We don't know anything yet. It'll obviously help us buy players in. And I think with money that you get from those 2 players, you could probably bring in 3 or 4 good quality players.
Yeah. I trust the owners. Do you trust the owners?
Yeah, I do. I'm not starting to not trust them, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know, bit of a seed of doubt maybe. I'm not sure.
In what respect?
Are we being a bit stubborn with our philosophies in this league?
Has it worked for you so far? There's definite positives to it.
There's 1000% positives to it, and the only I'm not saying it doesn't work in this league. I'm just saying with the contributing factors of not having the biggest budget in the league. I think it's 6th or 5th or 6th, something like that, in the league. With not having the biggest budget in the league, with all due respect, you can't bring in the best players that will be able to spread that style of play across the full 90. Obviously, it's going to be it's difficult to do that in any league, but obviously you're in the 5th division, so you're going to get sort of 5th division quality players who aren't really probably going to be able to play that way. So I think if you're going to try and make that the key to success, and I agree with it, I think it's the best way to play football. Then maybe we should invest a little bit more in players.
Yeah, I sort of agree. Do you think anyone will go with Burchnall? We were texting about this earlier. We weren't sure.
I mean, if for me, if anyone was to go, I think maybe Ruben, because I think his improvements under Burchnall were phenomenal. Literally was on the bench for a lot of the games before Burchnall came in. Under Arley, and then when Burchnall comes in, all of a sudden he's this fantastic, just falls short again, 20 goals. He's not even a striker. Obviously chips in. I don't know how many assists it is, but it's a good amount. So I think he's definitely someone that could go.
I didn't like Matty Palmer's tweet last night.
No, I don't like the picture either because he's like that. As if saying bye.
I mean, we're probably reading too much into it. Although he tweeted,
this is what you do when you don't get much information. You have to read into all these little signals, don't you?
Yeah. He tweeted a couple of days before, or one day before, about player of the season. Then he tweeted again. It's like, don't do a second tweet because that's making me a bit nervous. And I looked at the replies to it, and it was people saying sort of, "Hope this isn't you going," or "Don't go."
Yeah.
So I think Matty Palmer above Ruben would be a huge loss. But you never know, do you? Could they step up to League One? Would Burchnall want them to take them to League One? You never know.
Yeah.
Ruben had 36 goal contributions in the league last season, Williams says. If so, that's massive.
That's huge.
Yeah. If he doesn't take anyone, I think obviously Doyle's gone. I saw that on Lee Curtis' tweet. Doyle's left. If he doesn't take anyone else playing wise, I think the new manager can come in and slot him and do well. If he does take people, I think, as I've alluded to already, we could be in for a bumpy ride this summer. I mean, we could get it spot on. We could replace well, like you said, with money.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. I think it just there's so many different factors that could really change it one way or the other, whichever way it goes. It's just going to be an ever interesting summer, probably one of the most interesting summers, and that's saying something as a Notts fan because probably last summer was the least turbulent summer we've had. So yeah, it's going to be a turbulent couple of weeks, isn't it? I'm literally hoping tomorrow I wake up and at about 9 o'clock I get a notification on my phone that we've got a new coach, and because I'm starting to get anxious now that we need to get the clock ticking. I'm thinking of the players that I'd like to sign. I've seen a few knocking around that I think would fit the mold. Obviously, people talking about Cheek as well being out of contract. And I think the quicker you move on players like that, the better. I mean, we've sort of seen it with Dallas. We sort of feel like we've missed out a bit with Dallas. I don't want to be feeling like that again. And I'm sort of hoping that the owners are ready. You know, I'm hoping that if Matty Palmer does go, they've got another Matty Palmer that they can bring in, you know, for a set amount, and the new manager can work whatever they can work. But yeah, we're so out of the know because there's just not really been much information released, as there wouldn't be. You know, it's so hard to put your finger on what's going to happen with certain individuals, then what's going to happen with the club. There's no inkling as to what manager's going to come in, and I don't think anyone's going to get it. Because look at Burchnall. No one did. Anyone say Burchnall? I think maybe one person said it on Twitter, but it was so left field. I think no one would have called it. So it's so difficult to call anything at the moment, I think.
I remember when Burchnall was announced, we were preparing for our video that night. I was Googling him.
Yeah, exactly. We both were. We didn't know who he was.
No clue. Nigel makes a good point here. He says, Tom, those players that could leave anyway might not even go to Forest Green.
Yeah.
So there's the risk of them going to Forest Green and they all going somewhere else. It's a massive, for me, biggest pre-season since we've been down here, bigger than the first pre-season.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most telling pre-season for the owners since they've been here, without a doubt.
Do you think there needs to be tweaks to the model, or do you think this model gets us up?
I want to say yeah. Like I don't want to be one of these naysayers that says this system doesn't work at this level. Let's get Kevin Nolan in. No, I think it can work, definitely. I think you just need the right personnel and you need the rub of the green. I don't care who you are, you need luck to be on your side at some points. I understand you create your own luck for the majority, but a lot of teams that get promoted, there are times when they are lucky throughout the season, you know. So we've just not had that yet, and getting promoted anyway isn't easy in any league, but this league is just ridiculous.
It is. It's a very, very difficult league.
One thing that I would think, talking about players that could possibly go to Forest Green, I was thinking about this earlier on, was Richardson maybe. He's been to Forest Green before. Yeah. He's played under Burchnall. He's a free agent as it stands. If Burchnall wants to go with his formation that he was using at Notts, I could potentially see that.
Can't be a starter of League One for me. The end product's not there, I don't think. Couldn't be a starter.
Yeah, we'll see.
This is the thing. I think Burchnall had a massive a very strong bond with a lot of players at this team. Players like Richardson, if he doesn't go to Forest Green now, would he say, "I'll come to Notts" when Burchnall's not there? Do you know what I mean? Would some of these players now think twice about re-signing or coming back on loan if we want them, or coming back on a free? Would they do that? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And it's sort of questions that we just don't. We're all speculation, isn't it? It's complete speculation. So I really thought this time last night when I was speaking, I thought he would stay. I thought we'd sort of gone past that. I thought the storm had sort of blown over. And I think if we'd have got through today, I don't think he'd have been their manager. But obviously things have been happening very, very quickly. So you've already spoken about the speed of the appointment being really, really good and important, how quickly someone comes in. If you're a Forest Green fan and Burchnall comes in and you sort of asked us or asked Notts fans what to expect from him, what would your memories of him be at Notts over the past season and 10 games or whatever, 12 games? What do you say as a Notts fan you're going to get from Ian Burchnall? Because we've also got to think, I really liked Burchnall, but it's our lowest ever finish. What do you think you get?
Yeah, it is our lowest ever finish. You're right. I think you get good quality football. Someone that speaks very passionately about the game, and I think that sort of portrays in some of the videos that we saw. You know, when they go into training and they're mic'd up and stuff like that. Some of the stuff that he was doing in training, and taking time to speak to players and saying, "Catch up with me later. I've got something to show you." Little things like that, and I'm sure a lot of managers do that, but he seems so approachable, and I think there's a lot of managers that aren't very approachable. So I think you're going to have a tight knit unit with your players. His playing style, I think, in League One, if you can get it going, it will be very, very effective. Yeah, that's about it, really. That is about it. And another thing as well, I think that style attracts good players. So I think going forward, maybe not straight away, but going forward, I think if it's a long-term project this time, you'll probably find it a bit easier to attract players that maybe wouldn't be so willing to join any old club in League One.
Project. That word just keeps ringing around my head. Project.
Yeah.
I've already said I don't think words mean much in football anymore. It's all about actions. Doyle said he wanted to get his club back to where they belong. He's gone with Burchnall. He's had a very fortuitous journey to assistant manager, hasn't he? After the way he got the job, and he settled in with Burchnall. Now, one thing I would say is, and there are some people on Twitter that don't rate Ian Burchnall and on social media that think they wanted him gone. I didn't want him gone. I've just seen a comment in from Derek that's just come in that he wouldn't win as important games. Now, not just important games. There's been games this season and more games than I'd like to think where we've absolutely capitulated. Woking at home, absolutely imploded. Chesterfield away, 1-0 up, massive game. Our fans were in great voice, lost 3-1. Halifax, they're down to 10 men with 15 minutes to go, 2-0 up, lost. Grimsby, lost. 1-0 up, 20 seconds to go, lost the game. That doubt has always been in my mind that if he stayed, would we have to get over the line again? Now that's been removed. That doubt's been removed because he's gone to Forest Green. That's something if I'm trying to take positives, that's something I think. Was it personnel? Was it Burchnall? I don't know. That's something I think was possibly, and I think it was possibly personnel, but at the same time, Burchnall's got to get you over the line in those games, and he didn't. So if we're looking for any positives, I think his style of football is fantastic. I think loads of things like that. But we didn't win away from home. Williams said here, we didn't win away from home enough. The away form was shocking. Aldershot was a disgrace of a performance.
Yeah.
It's all key, disgrace. They're not short trips of fans. We didn't turn up away. Whether that was players again, whether that was Burchnall, I don't know. But if we're looking to try and take any positives from this, I'm not sure how. Look, Forest Green could possibly fight in relegation next season. Is he going to be able to instill a fight in those players?
Yeah, backs against the wall stuff, isn't it? That is.
Did we ever see that this season at all? Can you think of a game where we saw fighting backs against the wall victory?
There's definitely one or two in there, but there's no real standout ones where you're thinking like you'd never back Notts to do to any other club what Grimsby did to Notts.
No. We did it at Grimsby.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually. Maybe at Grimsby away. Obviously, you can say that more than me, but
they hit the ball and they battered us first half.
Yeah.
Wrexham at home, they played with 10 men. It's not really a backs to the wall victory. Chesterfield at home in the playoffs last year, but how much of that was to do with the fans? So will he be able to instill that for Forest Green? Will he be able to, if they go into the last 5 games this season, needing to win 2 or 3 to stay up? Will he be able to do that? I don't know. And is it best we move on? I don't really know. Someone's just said that they're glad Doyle's gone as well. There are a few rumours that people, well, not rumours, that a few people wanted Doyle as the new manager. What do you think? I'm very glad he's not the new manager. He didn't stay and become manager personally.
Yeah, it'd have been a fairy tale, wouldn't it? But
yeah,
I don't think it really suits. I think time is of the essence for the owners. I think I was saying this to you the other day, wasn't I, Tom, about funding for youth academies and stuff like that. In this league, you get next to nothing. If you get anything, I think it's nothing. So the sooner we get into League Two, where you do get that youth funding, the better, because that's another sort of finance that you don't have to be putting into as much because you are getting funding. So for me, times of the essence, and I think as much as they do like taking risks with managers, I think Doyle would have been a bit too much of a risk.
I would have seen it ending in tears, I think.
Yeah.
So
Doyle red card.
Yeah, or red card, or forward roll, like we said earlier in the season.
Yeah, we never saw that. It's gutting. So
no, we never saw the forward roll.
If there's any Forest Green fans watching and he does a forward roll and wave for you, let us know. It'd be great.
Yeah. We'll talk about the new manager in a second and what we need from that new manager. The fact it's happened on Friday, 3-4 days after the game, is good. It's obviously good. We're not. Imagine this happened in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
I've already seen a massive meltdown, and in a way, I'm sort of having not a meltdown, but it's reactionary, isn't it? We're very reactionary to what's just happened. I mean, as soon as it happened, I was at work. I looked at my phone 15 minutes after it happened. It was in the group chat. Burchnall's gone, and my immediate thoughts were different to what I'm saying now. But it's good it's happened. When do you want to see this new appointment in at the latest? Things don't usually happen Saturday, Sunday in football.
Yeah.
What's the latest? If we were appointed a new manager on, what's the date today? 27th of May. I don't know what day this is, but say we appointed a new manager on like the 10th of June. Too late?
Far too late. You're telling me that a player that's a free agent is going to wait on the premise of what manager you're going to get until, well, essentially 2 weeks.
10th of June is a Friday.
Yeah, so you got 2 weeks.
2 weeks too late to appoint a manager.
Far too late. It needs to be done by, for me, very, very latest next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, 31st.
Latest, yeah.
Now, is Monday a bank holiday?
No, Thursday and Friday.
Is it not? Thursday, Friday? Because obviously, I'm not even having a laugh here. Bank holidays obviously affect things.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thinking behind it.
Things going through. So you think it has to be by Tuesday? What about if it was Wednesday?
It has to be. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? But it's one less day to be preparing for the new season and getting these signings over the line.
Yeah, Max says no longer than a week. Mitch says we'll have a new manager by Monday. Nigel says this time next week, hopefully everything will be sorted. Lee says Notts will have a new manager by next Friday. Darren says next Friday. Casey agrees with you. Yeah, I agree, George. I was just putting a date out there.
Does anyone think that we have one already? Be interesting to know.
You actually messaged me saying, do you think there'll be one today announced?
Yeah, I did. I wouldn't put it past the owners because, like someone's already said, there's no smoke without fire, and I'm sure the owners sort of anticipated this.
Did you read our statement, the Notts statement on the retain list? I think it said plans have already been well underway.
Yeah.
I think they'll have Burchnall's replacement, if I'm honest. I think they'll have identified the next manager and the next manager. They're very smart owners.
Do you think the next manager will come in and Jim O'Brien will be assistant, and that'll just be like an ever going cycle at Notts? Like when the next manager goes, it'll be like
Rollo.
Yeah, Rawlinson will be the assistant. Yeah.
The whole, forget any sort of Moneyball philosophy. The whole philosophy they're basing themselves on is an older player as assistant manager.
Do you know what I would like to see, actually? If that does, for some strange reason, become a thing, Slocum as an assistant, I think that would be class.
It'd be good. I can see Slocum as like tactical manager.
Yeah, great bloke.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. So you're saying it has to be this time, by this time next week, we need to have a manager in place, essentially. I don't disagree. I think they're possibly already sorted. Look how quickly Ardley and Burchnall came about. What was that? I think we did a live video one day and Burchnall was appointed the next day.
Yeah, the only thing I say about that is that was their discretion. They knew they were going to sack Ardley. They would have lined Burchnall up and they would have had that ready. Whereas this, as much as there's been a lot of speculation, there's probably been more than we know that the club understood as well. It's not as much in their, the ball's not firmly in their court. They still have options for sure, but it's not as in their favour as it was with that situation, I don't think.
Yeah, Jay says he thinks possibly tomorrow lunchtime. If it was as early as tomorrow, the earlier the better feeling I get. If it's tomorrow lunchtime, they've already got.
If it's tomorrow lunchtime, I want to see Cheek announce Monday morning.
Do you, Michael Cheek?
Yeah.
No, I think. Cole says Monday. Let's have a go, George. I'm saying by the end of Monday we'll have a new manager in place. What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm going to say Monday. I think if it's any longer, I know it's a Tuesday. I think it's after Monday. I'll be thinking, what's going on?
Have a plan. Yeah, if it's not Monday, they didn't have a plan. I would sort of say, but I trust these owners, do you?
Yeah,
I trust them. That brings us on to who will we like then as manager. Now, let's address the elephant in the room on social media. Kevin Nolan.
No.
No or no.
No, exclamation mark. No, exclamation mark. Screaming, dog barking. Kids
Definitely
crying.
not. Definitely
No,
not.
No, I'm being dramatic. No, just a no for me. I think as a manager, you've got to have a good balance of emotion, and just being able to be balanced. I think Burchnall was very, very professional. You very rarely saw true emotion from him. I think the odd time you did he square up to the Halifax assistant or something like that? I can't remember.
That's a high emotion game, though, isn't it?
Very, very much so. But the thing with Nolan, I think towards the end of his tenure, he was blaming refs a lot. It was very, I don't know. His football isn't going to suit this mold at all. It's the polar opposite. Hit and hope. No, for me, Nolan's a big no. The only person of that sort of similarity that I would accept with open arms.
Harry Kewell.
No, purely on nostalgic basis and the fact that I think he could definitely get us promoted is Neil Warnock.
16-1. I'm looking at it now.
16-1. I mean, you've just got to. He's done it before with Notts. It was a long time ago, and it was the divisions were a little bit different, but he's done it before with Notts. He's done it plenty of times without Notts in the playoffs. Knows the game inside out. Managed more games than anyone, literally. Why not?
Fair enough. Max says it'll be some random German third division head coach who started his career at under-19 Southampton head coach.
Yeah.
Honestly, as long as they've vetted who it is, I am completely 50-50 as to whether it will be someone we know or someone we have. It's going to be in between, isn't it? I don't think it'll be someone we have a little bit of knowledge about. It'll either be someone we know that knows the league, or it'll be someone that we have no clue about and we're Googling again on Monday afternoon after they come in, I think. Possibly. Now, I'm looking at the betting odds, George, already. I don't think the bookies have a clue about Notts.
No, I don't either. I had a look at them as well.
Fifth
Woodman,
division,
isn't it?
No idea. Andy Woodman. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bromley coach just won the FA Trophy. 4-1. If it was him, would you be happy? Bromley have been hard to beat since he's been boss.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be underwhelmed. Is the best way to put it.
Underwhelmed. I'm going to pick out some other names there. Mike Williamson, former Newcastle centre back. I've heard very, very good things about Mike Williamson. I don't know who he's managing at the minute. Part of me wants to say Gateshead. I'm going to have a quick look. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. 38 years old, Gateshead manager. I've heard very, very good things about him as manager. If it was to be him, I'll be over the moon. I think that'd be a fantastic appointment. Getting Gateshead up to the National League is no mean feat. Like, that's a very good thing. And he's been there. He's played in the Premier League for years. Like, good manager. And I think he'd be respected. So Jay says Mike Williams to take the striker as well. Anyone else on that list that's sort of any note? Luke Garrard at
Everyone seems to be favouring him, don't they? He's the name I've seen the most of. I can see why people are saying it, because he has done a good job at Bournemouth. I mean, maybe towards the end of the season they have dropped off, but you've got to give him a lot of credit for where he did get Bournemouth and saying that they lost Shamanga, their goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? Hard team to break down, very hard team to break down, to score against.
Polar opposites to Burchnall. Burchnall scored a lot, conceded a lot. Bournemouth don't score, barely conceded.
Yeah, and I feel like that could possibly work, because I think we have the creativity to score. But if he can, create a tighter defense and, really make it difficult to score past us, I think for me that's the big problem.
I heard him speak before. I know he was just signed a contract. I heard him speak before the post Notts game, and he was heaping praise on Notts, wasn't he? Best team they faced this season. It was the home game where we won 1 or 2-0, 1-0, I think. But I like the way he spoke, and I thought he came across charismatic and really, he came across really well. It would mean we'd have to pay a fee for him. I don't think the fee would be as much as Bertrand's fee, so you could take some change away from that. I don't know. I think two untested. Would you be confident? I think we said yesterday, didn't we? We need to win the league, don't we, to go up?
Yeah, unless we get Warnock.
Could you see us winning the league with Bournemouth's manager?
I don't know. I can't see us winning the league
with anyone
at the minute. Anyway, I mean,
what about Pep?
Possibly, but I mean, the manager's one thing, isn't it? But it's the players, really. You can bring the best manager in the world in, but if the players can't, discipline themselves to pull it across a full game, like I've already said, you're going to struggle.
What do you think the biggest thing to get right is? Do you think it's the manager? Like, it seems stupid to say. Obviously, players win things, but do you think the perfect appointment needs to be the manager or the players? It seems. Do you know what I mean? Because the players this season also have not performed to where. Look, we finished 5th. We went out in the. I've already said lowest finish we've had. Yes, highest points total, lowest finish. Didn't ever challenge near first. I know they're both massive. Both massive.
We were first for the first time this season, though, weren't we?
Not for the first game.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, stuff that.
I know. I'm just putting it out there. We were first at one point.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, in the league there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Chris says manager's more important. Max says manager's more important.
Stockport prime example. I think they had both. They had some terrific players in their side.
But what an appointment Challoner was.
Oh yeah, an amazing appointment. But then you look at the back end of, like, he came in and he had a crazy bounce, but then the form towards the end of the season was dire.
Yeah, I think if you don't have the right players, you can only go so far. I think if you have a manager, we've seen with some teams. Let's look at the Championship, for example. Luton don't have the 6th best team in the Championship, but they finished 6th. I think.
Yeah.
They don't. The manager there. Nathan Jones is it? Pulled that squad together. A manager can do things to a squad if you get that right. I think this appointment is huge. Yeah,
That's a
I
good,
don't
that's a
like to
good
say
point
it,
from
but
you,
someone
actually.
said, look at Cooper over the river. That team, few additions. That team were bottom of the league.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, right, there were 9 points off the playoffs when he came in.
No, I know they were, and let's hope they don't go up on Sunday. But I know they're only 9 off the playoffs. But at the same time, the managers made
It's a
them.
fantastic achievement. Don't get me wrong, but I do think it's sort of overstated saying they were bottom and it was looking like this and looking like they were 9 points off playoffs.
Yeah, you're stating facts there, George.
Facts.
The stat man, the new stat man.
Cheers.
You've done it. A couple of other names on the list. 16-1. This is how little the bookies know. You know, about 8th, 9th favourite Sol Campbell. It's never gonna happen.
If he came back, that would be like the equivalent of Benitez going to Everton.
The worse.
Be worse. You're right.
Also 16-1 Neil Warnock.
Get him right.
I honestly, like I said, doesn't have any difference. This book is. They don't have a clue. Until one name comes out, no one has a clue. If anyone put money on Ian Burchnall right now, they're a millionaire. If they did that a couple of seasons ago. Millionaire. He wouldn't have even been on the odds, would he?
Probably not.
So Ian, Stockport and Wrexham were 10th and 13th, 9 behind us. They both appointed managers who have been promoted from this league and finished first and second. No coincidence. Manager's huge.
Yeah.
Manager's absolutely gigantic, whoever we get in charge.
Ian Abbott?
Ian Everett. I don't know who's even managed anymore. I don't know anything outside the National League now. I've switched off. This league.
It was Bolton for a little bit, wasn't it? And I think he got sacked from there, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We said this, didn't we? You know, if you're a fan and you step away from Notts, what a league this is to watch. It's so exciting. It's such an exciting league. You can't deny from a neutral's point of view. It's about as most interesting league in England, bar the Championship, I'd say. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would.
It's so interesting. It's as frustrating as it is to be a part of. It's an interesting league to be a part of as well because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You never have a clue what's going to happen. Most of it's bad. Look at all the farces we've had this season with games being called off 10 minutes before kick. Well, not 10 minutes, but before kickoff. So Chris Everett's still at Bolton, George. So
I thought he got sacked because he did something, didn't he? Like he was really slating one of the young goalkeepers in the press. I remember he had to come out and apologise for it because it was quite brutal, to be honest.
James says, let's stay in the National League if it's interesting. Remember, James, I said from a neutral's point of view. From a fan's point of view, it's horrific to be in there. So Nigel said he'd throw so much money at Challenger he couldn't say no.
I don't think he would.
Aaron says James Rowe.
No thanks.
No, thank you. No, thank you. We'll see who it is. Hopefully, we're live on Monday. I'd hope. Anything you want to add, George? Because there's so many thoughts I've got going on in my head. I've tried to get as many out as I can.
No, I think we've covered bases there. There's so many different names, isn't there, that we could talk about.
There are. There's so many.
Are we going to spend more? Are we going to increase our budget? At the inevitability of making a bigger loss. Who knows? Because we're already making a loss with our current budget. And
does the model change? Will we pay for a manager compensation that we've got from Burchnall? Will players follow?
So many unanswered questions that, time will tell. Time really will tell.
It will. It'll be really interesting. We finished the video last night. As I've already said, I thought no chance we have another manager. I think Burchnall stays. George called it. I'll give it you there. You said we'll have another manager. It's going to happen. I'm putting my prediction out here now that we'll be live again Monday evening to discuss the next manager. I hope it is. Jim says, see you tomorrow after the new manager gets announced. Never getting a break. I know. We love doing this, but we thought we'll have more than 24 hours break. We did.
Yeah.
We will take a break at some point this season, unless it's as hectic pre-season as it proves to be. Massive numbers again. Thank you for all your comments. That I couldn't even keep up with the comments because you, George.
No, there's so many, and we really do appreciate it. This is what makes these videos so good, the interactivity of them. That's why we love doing them.
Yeah.
So we appreciate everyone that's getting involved in the live chats. Obviously, it's amazing. And if you're watching this now, first time watching the channel, or you've been looking down and you're not subscribed, I think we're 5 or 6 off now, hitting 2,000. So if we can tick over 2,000 tonight, that'd be fantastic. So if you're watching, you're not subscribed, please subscribe because it helps us massively.
Yeah, it does massively helps us out. It does. So we'll be back at some point. Hopefully, it's less than 7 days. We'll be back as soon as that appointment's made. We'll get that live video going. We want everyone back in that's chatting tonight. See what your opinions are, because it's very mixed. But what we have to do as Notts fans now, we've already said this is the biggest preseason. George and myself think since our time in the National League, we have to be behind whoever it is. There were some fans not 100% behind Burchnall. We're going to have a manager from the start of the season. We've got to be behind them. This has got to be the season that we back them 100%. So let's all do that as Notts fans. We hope to see you in a few days when it's all announced. Maybe tomorrow night. If it is tomorrow night, I'll take it. It's done. But as always, if you have enjoyed the video, please leave any comments if you haven't watched live. And as George said, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel.